Hello, my name is Matthew Ellemberg. I'm a prop modeler slash texture artist for Fenrir Studios, currently working on the game Dark Storm. I'll try my best to tell you what is going on screen because it is around 12 hours of work compressed into 20 minutes, so it's going to be going by pretty quick. I'll just let you know a little bit about me before we jump in. I've been doing 3D work for about 3 years now, and working games specifically for about a year and a half. I primarily use Maxon Cinema 4D. My work also, I also use ZBrush and Photoshop. It all just depends if I'm making the model or texturing it like I am today. So you'll see me jump in straight into Cinema 4D and just open it up, yeah, and go directly into body paint because body paint just allows you to paint in 3D, which I kind of wanted because the camo actually bends around the model, so I didn't want to just be all crooked. So I decided, instead of painting it on, you can see there, I decided to go grab a texture and just paint it on that texture instead of painting it by hand. It just makes it better. Saves me time as well. So yeah, you'll see me later on go back into body paint, which is amazing for fixing seams. So you'll see me fix all the seams on the camo. So I'll start putting more of the color back in and fixing up seams. So yeah, you'll see me do this now. This was like a 10-minute process. Actually, maybe a little bit more, but not much more. But yeah, very, very helpful for fixing seams. Like, seams are just so annoying, and body paint just makes it so much easier to get rid of them. It's a little strange how the shader works in body paint, but other than that, it's a pretty useful tool. So yeah, basically just jump back from Photoshop and body paint, as you'll see in a little bit. Check out my work. Just make sure everything's working. Yeah, put some music there. uh, and going back and continuing on. The reason why I have a white bottom is because Darkstorm is set into a snowy environment. So, well, helicopters are usually made to, if you're putting camo, you want it to blend into the area. So I wasn't gonna make it completely black because I just stick out in snow. So I have it kind of a darker. The camo is darker, yes, but the bottom is white because, or it's not even gonna be completely white. It's gonna be slightly gray as well because it'll blend in with the snow as it's going over, so you can't see it, even though you probably would hear it. So I don't know if helicopters have dampening things, but anyway, you'll see me here adding more details to the diffuse. Just I'm gonna indent those later than normal, but you can see me now. I'm gonna work on the bolts. Bolts are like what half the helicopter is. What holds it together. There's so many bolts. So basically, I just set up a Photoshop brush to just have spacing on it, and I just drew bolts. So yeah, as you'll see, this is only one part of the helicopter. I have actually three different, actually now four different material IDs. So I have one for the main body. I have one for the extras, which is like the propeller and the wings and stuff like that. Then I have one for the interior, and I have one for the glass. So anything glass on this has its separate own ID to be in. So you see me try to save myself time by mirroring, but it kind of didn't work to create. So I had to go in body paint and do the same thing I did in Photoshop, just fix up the bolts. But yeah, the texture size on the main ID tag, which is what I'm working on right now, is the body, is 2K by 1K. So it's wider, or yeah, lengthwise, yes. And then after that, they have the interior, which is only 1K. And the extras are actually 4K because there's a lot of them. Like the UV is packed when we get there. Um, you see me throw in the normals here. Start doing more details. Basically using Endo, which is a great tool by Quixel. Like my god, it's amazing. So instead of having a high poly, I just basically make some white shapes in Photoshop, and after that, just turn them into normals. It's great because I didn't have a high poly for this model, so I couldn't bake it. You see me adding more grunge to the glass. Um, Playing with speculars on the glass too. Also the helicopter itself, because I just made the specular map. Now it's just adjusting colors. tweaking specular levels, which I'm still at the end of this. You'll see me. Oh, actually, I don't think you'll see me. But after this video is done, I tweak the speculars more. You just never get that stuff right. So now moving on to the interior, which in the interior, if there's no seats or nothing, it is literally just bolts and bolts and bolts. So basically, I just added a lot of bolts. And you see me making a color ID thing for Dedo actually, which is helps texture. But I ended up not liking it completely, so I ended up going over it myself, like I did on the main body as well. Basically, you're making this little hatch thing that I'm just gonna go throw into Dedo and make into a normal, kind of like a place to put your first aid kit or something. And then you'll see me adding bolts and bolts. So basically, just bolts everywhere. And it is only 1K, so I'm not going to get the most resolution out of this, but the thing is, it's not actually a place you're going to be in, I'm fairly sure. And if it is, I will up the texture size, but I'm pretty sure they told me that it wasn't going to be in, so I basically just made it so it looks good if you're like far away and you're looking in, but if you're in there, you're going to be like, oh my god. So just continue with bolts everywhere. I'm leaving them white right now because I'm just going to throw this all into Dedo and make the norm map. Or Endu. Yeah, it's Endu. Due to this for texturing. Sorry about that. You see me getting some leather here because the seats are leather. I decided to go for red instead of the beige that actually was in most things. Because I felt like the red, or kind of more like a reddish brown, would stand out better than beige. And then you see me going to Endu now and just making all that into normals so they'll actually pop out. Now doing the bolts. Yeah, see mostly bolts. Then I'll just continue to change it into a color ID so I can bring in the Dedo and actually do the texturing for it. And after that, I will modify it afterwards though, because I wasn't too happy with the thing from Dedo. Just more of a base than anything. If you're wondering like how am I getting the results I am right now, it's just just without looking at any model. Dedo actually opens a second window so you can actually have your model there to look at texture. So I have that on my second screen as I'm doing this, as also with all my reference. So I'm just not blindly going at this. So now you see me going back into body paint and adding actually camo onto the doors there because it all has to match in with it. But that's another couple of minutes of work. It's not a long job, but still necessary. Yeah, toning a lot of the specular down on the normals, or not the normals, the specular, because it was very bright and it wasn't matching up with the specular of the main body, so I had to get that matching up or it'll just look weird. So now I'm just looking in the inside, making color changes and stuff. And you'll see it's not the most high res thing, obviously, for the inside, because I said we aren't going to be inside it, so you're just going to be looking in pretty much, so that warning thing was probably just a waste. Yeah, here you'll see you're getting into all the extra pieces, which is, there's so much. Literally, it's like 5 hours alone I spent before this doing the UVs. Not even, probably more than that. You see me just going over defining colors. And basically the dash, I didn't really have to do the dash, but I decided to put it in there because if you're looking in, you want to be able to see something there. Basically adding that same leather texture back to those seats. And basically just defining materials for now. And basically it was a balance of contrast because I know that Darkstorm takes place in a snowy environment, so I knew it had to be, some had to be lighter grays and some had to be white, and it basically had to be snow friendly, or I should say snow friendly camouflage, but also had look like a helicopter. It couldn't just be completely white, or else that'd make my job even easier. But yeah, just making basically start and work with just the big block shapes of color, and after later on just fixing some errors once in a while there. I do have my ambient occlusion on that just so I can see the different pieces better because there's a lot of UV islands, so it just I couldn't remember them all, what piece were which though. So yeah, even though everything's going really quick, you'll see me go back in here and fix up some of the camo as well. Wasn't done with the camo. It was coming back. Um, just fixing seams, like I said, body paint is amazing for fixing seams. Yeah, the wings, they had to be camo as well, so I went in and fixed some seams and body paint as well there. Didn't take that long, but it was necessary. Also, it got like I could define the camo how I wanted it to be as well. That's why I liked that as well. So then we'll just jump back to continuing to define different colors, materials. I'm just rendering once in a while to get that over overview look. See if I need to change anything drastically. So just adding the wheel wells, I guess that's what they're called. Anyway, I didn't like them white, so I desaturated them, and after that I later on changed the color to a darker color, so kind of more of a matte, or I guess somewhat matte black. A little bit of shine on it, I guess. And this changing colors of things for most part. It was just a lot of tedious work. It wasn't really anything groundbreaking, I guess. You see me try to hand paint some stuff there, but no, I cannot hand paint. So basically, I had reference with me on the other my other screen. So basically, I was just going by that. Plus, once in a while, I'll just do a little bit of I guess creative license and just put random stuff. But then some of that ended up not looking good, like that dot in the middle of that thing. So I got rid of that. Later on, you'll see. And I believe here you'll see me put darken the wheels and so darken the wheel wells. Maybe I'll start the normals or just working on stuff. It's basically generally just getting everything matched because I didn't want to really have any overlapping UVs. You'll see things start really taking shape. So now I'm starting to do the specular, I believe. Kind of hard to tell. Everything goes fast. Yeah, it's adding grunge, scratches, the usual. And you'll see me later on go by hand and just start adding grunge to some places where it'd be more plausible to make grunge. So like the exhaust, how like the fumes would rub off and like get caught on the metal, I guess. And parts like that, like say the parts where you would step up to get into the cockpit, or where basically everything would move. Yeah, for the gun belt, I said I was gonna put bullets, but then I realized that it wasn't actually there were bullets there, so I decided not to. It also did look kind of dumb, so I took that away. And still, even towards the end here, still changing colors and stuff. But yeah, my biggest problem was probably the specular. I still have to work on that, but for the most part, it is looking pretty good. There's probably only some detail things I would work on more, but other than that, just continuing on finding different type of materials. So going into body paint and adding little just black circles for the guns. Later on, I think I put them in Endo and make them in normal so they're pushed in, so they actually look like their barrels slightly. And just changing specular levels more. Yeah, you see me open up Endo here and start adding all the normal pieces. You can probably see the bottom right, my computer going crazy, all the temperature. So yeah, I added a color correction because probably most people don't do this, but I like to do it if I didn't have the right colors from the begin with, which I wasn't feeling just the monochromatic like textures. So I decided to go with more of like a little bit of a colored feel. So basically, I put in some blues and like slight greens. It's like more cool colors because it's gonna be in the snow area. Just nothing drastic, go very lightly because if not, it would just look retarded. So then it's adding more normal details to the extras. So I just didn't feel like there was enough detail. Yeah, basically nothing fancy, just a lot of time spent. Still changing up colors and shapes because this has to contrast more. You see me do a little bit of detail on the gun, just something random. After that, I'll bring that mostly everything after I do it, like any detail work, I'll bring it in the do if there's not already a high polyfollow detail, and I'll just make it into a normal so it'll actually bring out that detail. It's just standard way to do it. Just tweaking all them, the various settings. Just after you do anything, just check it, make sure it works because if it doesn't, then you gotta go back and you gotta fix it later on. You don't want to wait. But you'll see me here adding grunge to places where it's possibly be and it could possibly be. I a little overdid it, and the reason is because it's easier to take away than it is to add. So I kind of just basically added a lot more than I should have, and just erased it out later. Instead of to like multiply or lighten or whatever I did, it'll see it. So possible places where either dust or dirt would collect and just like general grime. So yeah, you see me messing around with it in the fuse and then in the specular. Yeah, they see me added to the different various parts and stuff. And I believe that the reason why I just put it on the bolts is because bolts usually collect dust a bit and they leak as well after time. So, over time, I should say. After that, just play with specular values for like next 10 minutes and then, yeah, just touch ups here and there, and that's how you'll see. It's pretty much done. Just take some beauty shots. Well, thank you very much for watching and hope you have a nice day.